Hey, and welcome to Digital Woodcarver. My name is Laney Shaughnessy. If you don't know me already, I'm going to walk you through installing the new script files and buttons and everything into your PlanetCNC TNG software for your DWC Quickset zeroing tool. Our tool used to have a standalone program for creating the touch-off G-code. Well, now all of those functions and features are going to be integrated into the PlanetCNC TNG Motion Controller software. And so I'm going to walk you through installing that. Now, the first thing we want to do is we need to obtain the files, and we're going to get those from the digitalwoodcarver.com website, www.digitalwoodcarver.com. When we get to the website, we want to make sure that we click on the Support and Downloads page of the website. And in the top section of the website, from the Support and Downloads page, you will see the PlanetCNC TNG Controller section. And within the Controller section, you're going to see a new download link for the Quickset files, the DWC Quickset zeroing tool files. You'll see them here. It's currently not listed because this video is actually part of those files. Once this video is complete, then everything will be uploaded for you to download. So once those files are downloaded, they're going to be in a zip file. And when we go to our downloads in our File Explorer, if we go to our Downloads folder, we're going to scroll down to that, and I have a lot of download folders in here, but we're going to go all the way down to the Quickset Guide files, and that's going to be in the queues, it's alphabetical order. And here is my zip file, so I want to double click on that. Now, when I'm in the file, this is a zip file, so our compression tools, our compression folder tools are going to be here, and our extract button. And to the right here, we're going to see extract all. Let's go ahead and click on that, and our menu is going to prompt us to select a destination to extract the files. Now, we can browse to our computer where we would like these, or it's going to create a new folder called Quickset Guide Files, and it's just going to unzip the folders into this master folder here. So let's go ahead and click extract. I'm not going to browse anywhere special on my computer. I'm just going to click extract, and there are already files in that destination, and so I'm going to go ahead and replace them all. Now, you won't have to replace any. The reason why I have to replace them is because I already have files in that folder. So when we look at the folder now, it's gonna open up a new File Explorer window for us with the two folders already unzipped, extracted. So we have two folders here called Quickset Guide Profile Files and Quickset Guide Script Folder Files. Now, you're going to have a third file here called Video Files, and that video that I'm shooting now is going to be in here as well. But this video will also be a standalone video that you can watch to walk you through all these steps also. You don't have to unzip the file just to get to this video. So if we come in here and look at our two folders, if I go into the Profiles files, you're going to see our button bottom text document, and you're going to see all of our button icons for that Quickset tool. We have a Quickset button for an 1/8 inch tool, a 3/16 inch tool, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch. But we also, if you're using a custom tool size, we also have a function for that. And also, if you're using the touch pin and you need to do a tool change to your router bit for the Z touch off, we have a function for that as well. And also we have a function for our center circle finder. On the Quickset tool, we have a circle here where you can bring the bit down and it'll find the center of that circle and set X and Y for us, and then it will go and touch off the Z. So those are our icons in our button bottom text file. And if we back up one folder and we look at the other folder here, it's the Quickset Guide script folder files, you're going to see UD20 through UD26. These are the G-code files to create the script, the instructions for the program. When you run one of the functions and you click on the button, it's going to run this script file. So if we take a look back at our unzipped folders here, we're going to go ahead and start off with the profile files. So let's go ahead and open that folder up and let's select all of the files. Click on the first one, hold down your shift key and click on the last one to select them all. And we're going to right click and we're going to copy these files. We're then going to go over to our computer's C drive on our computer and we're going to go into the Program Files folder. Program Files. Inside of the Program Files folder, we want to find the PlanetCNC folder, and we want to open that up. Now, in PlanetCNC, we have a folder called Profiles, and if we open that up, your folder may be, your Profiles folder may just have a default folder in there, or if you have a fourth axis machine, you most likely will have a profile folder called Mill Mode and fourth axis mode. Okay, so if you do have the mill mode and fourth axis mode, these icons for the Quickset tool are going to go into the mill mode folder. Now, if you do not have a profile, maybe you have a 3-axis digital wood carver and you do not have any other file folder except for the default, then that's the one that you're going to use. If we look at the default folder, we have a list of files that are going to be in there depending on how many files are in there already as a default. But also we have a scripts folder where all of our scripts are located. If I back up, every one of our profile folders are the same. We have some files and we have a scripts folder with all of our scripts and things. So depending on if you just have a default folder or if you have a mill mode folder, you're going to use default if you only have that, and the mill mode if you have that. I have two profiles set up for my fourth axis machine, so I'm going to be going into mill mode. So I'm going to open that up. Now right in the root directory of mill mode, I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste the files that we copied. Now I'm going to check off the box that says do this for all current items, and I'm going to click continue, and it's going to go ahead and install our button bottom page and all of our images. Once that is complete, then we're going to go back to our Quickset Guide Files folder, and we're now going to open the scripts folder files. And let's open that up. And we have our UD20 through UD26. Once again, we're going to single click on that top one, hold down our shift key, single click on the last one so it highlights them all, and then we're going to right click and we're going to copy those. Again, we're going to go back into our C drive, Program Files. We're going to find our PlanetCNC folder, and we're going to go back into our profiles. And again, for me, I'm going to go back into the DWC mill mode where we just pasted all those images and everything. This time, I'm going to go into the scripts folder. And in the scripts folder, I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. Once again, doing for all current items, I'm going to click continue, and I'm going to paste that UD20 through UD26 in my scripts folder. Okay. Now that we've done that, we're completely finished. So all we have to do now is close out of our File Explorer, any File Explorer window that we have open, and then we need to open up our TNG software. Now, if you have profiles set up for mill mode and fourth axis mode like I do, then you most likely have two icons on your desktop. Mill mode and fourth axis mode. Mill mode is where the Quickset guide tool files are. So I'm going to open up the mill mode. Alright, so we are going to look at our tools here, and I will show you a few of the tools. We're going to talk about the tool change function, the tool size function when you have your own custom tool size, and we'll talk about the 1/4 inch tool. So now that we have all of our files, our icons and scripts and everything in their proper folder, and we open up our TNG software, we should have our nice new buttons down below for our functions. And so what we want to do is, before we run a function, we need to make sure that we are set up properly at the table. And so if we look at the camera here, and imagine if I am a user at my CNC machine, my Quickset block is going to go on to the lower left corner of the board, which on my x-axis, the lower left corner is facing me here and everything. Now, at that point, I'm going to bring the router down, and I'm going to bring my bit that I'm using in front of my sensor on the x-axis. And I want to make sure that I'm within 1.5 inches of the corner. This is a 3 inch by 3 inch block. I want to make sure that for that first initial setup, I'm within 1.5 inches. So somewhere in that general area on the front of the block. You know, close to the side, but not past the middle line. So when I'm in position, at this point, I've got my bit lowered down to where the widest diameter of the bit can make contact with the sensor. We want to always touch off on the widest diameter of the bit. When I'm in position, I'm now ready to run the operation, to run the procedure. Now, one of the things that we can look at within the software is we can look at our log. And our log is under the Help menu, Show Log, and this is a reporting log that gets printed to when our procedures are running things. So if I have the log open, you know, I can have it open, or I don't need it open. I can view it after, but I'm going to have it open while I'm showing you this stuff so you can see as well. But in my log, let's start off. Let's say that I'm already set up and I'm in position and I'm ready to run my tool, and my tool happens to be a 1/4 inch diameter. Well, I'm going to go ahead and open up my 1/4 inch tool, touch off procedure, and you'll see that it says number 3, DWC Quickset for 1/4 inch tool. Number 3 means it's the third icon, it's the third function, and it's for our 1/4 inch diameter tool. So I have two options at this point. One, I can click OK to run the procedure, or two, I can cancel out to stop the function if I need to make any adjustments or changes. So let's go back into that tool, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and let's move this out of the way. Now, on our screen here, I'm going to go ahead and enlarge our TNG. Let's go ahead and let's cancel out of this for a second so I can enlarge our TNG software. And I'm going to take the log for right now, and I'm going to just kind of move it up here in the corner. Just move it up here in the corner for right now. So if I open up my 1/4 inch tool and I'm ready to run my procedure, I'm going to click OK, and then it's going to begin. So it's going to start probing towards the x-axis, and once it makes contact, it's then going to back up, go around the corner to the y, and when it gets to the middle of the block, it's going to start probing for y. When it touches again, it's going to then raise up the z over the block and come over to the z, and when it's over the block of the z, then it's going to start probing for z. When it touches off, it'll then raise up, and move out of the way so we can move our touch block off of our board. Once we do that, then we can go ahead and we can either start our carving, or we can bring our machine back home with our home button, this circle first icon on the left, the circle with the dot in the middle. If I bring my router back home, then we should make contact with the corner of the tool, or our board should I say, and we should be able to look at our machine tab and be all zeros, and if we peek over at the work tab, those are zeros as well because we're back home at XYZ 0. But if we look at our log, if we take a close look at our log, so as it was going through each step, it was letting us know that the procedure had started. When it touched off on the x-axis and when it was completed, it registered the completion of the x-axis touch off. Then it registered the completion of the y-offset axis touch off. Then it registered the completion of the z. And then the measurements procedure was completed in its entirety and the router moved out of its way. So our reporting log, we can clear our log if we need to. If we get too much stuff in there, we can clear our log. But it's good to know how to access your log so you can see the reporting that happens within the software when you're running certain functions. Excuse me. Got a little bit of a frog in my throat today. All right, let's close our log up. And let's talk about our tool size function. So this means I'm using a custom tool. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And as a default number in there, our default number is 0.75. Now I'm using, let's say, a 3/8 inch diameter tool to touch off with. I'm going to come in here and type in my 3/8. And then I'm going to click OK. Once again, it's going to start probing towards that x-axis. When we touch off, it's going to go around the corner to the Y. When it gets to the middle of the block, it'll start touching off on the Y. Once it reaches that sensor, it will then raise up and go over the Z. And then it will touch off on the Z. And once it registers the Z, then it will move out of the way for us to move our touch block. So now that you've seen the general functions in here, let's actually take a look at how that would look in operation at the CNC machine. So we're going to minimize our TNG for a moment, and we're going to open up a little clip here that I have for you. And first thing to notice is the positioning. So I've got my pin in here. I happen to be doing a tool change or what have you, or I'm just simulating a 1/4 inch tool touch off. If you're using a regular router bit, put your router bit in there if it's not a tapered bit. If you have a tapered bit, then you will use your touch pin and you'll do the tool change function. But in that position, I'm usually about an inch away from it. I have an inch of travel to work with, but I want to be within 1.5 inches from that corner. So when we run this operation, the bit is going to probe towards the touch probe, then it's going to go around the corner and it's going to probe on the Y side. It's going to then raise up over the block. It's going to then probe for Z. Once it touches off on the Z, then it will move out of the way so the user can remove the touch block. From there, we can bring the router back home and we should land dead on our corner. The center of that bit should be right on X, Y, and Z 0. That is a successful touch off. Alright, let's go back into our TNG software here. And let's talk about the tool change. Now the tool change function means that I am going to be using either a router bit that's a regular size, or I'm going to be using my touch pin. 99.9% of the time you're using your touch pin that's provided with the Quickset. But we're going to use the touch pin, so I'm going to make sure that it's a 1/4 inch because that's the diameter of my touch pin. And I'm going to be set up in the starting position once again, as we just demonstrated a moment ago. The starting position is my touch pin is going to be in front of my X. right down, ready to make its procedure, its touch off and everything. So we want to be in position before we click OK, because otherwise it's going to start running the program. So if we're in position and we got our proper tool diameter programmed in here, then we're going to click OK. And this time, when it probes for X, it's going to touch off and then go around the corner of the touch block, get to the middle of that touch block, then it's going to start probing for Y. And this time, when it touches off the Y, it's going to raise up and move above the Z, but it's not going to touch off the Z. We're going to get a box that comes up that says Specify Tool Change Location. Now, this is an incremental distance away from where it's currently sitting, anywhere on our table that we want to move to that's a kind of a clear area for us to be able to change our tool, removing the touch pin and putting in our tool that we're carving with, whatever it might be. So let's say, for instance, I want to move down the table 15 inches. On the x-axis, I want to move over, kind of back 1 inch. And on the z, I want it to raise an additional ½ inch to just kind of give me a little room to get my touch pin out. So with those settings, I'm going to click OK. Now once I click OK, it's going to start moving the x-axis down the table till it gets 15 inches away from where it currently is. And then it's going to go into a hard stop. You'll see the pause button light up. This is where I change my tool. So the machine has stopped. It's waiting for me to do the tool change. So I'm going to take my touch pin out of the router or spindle. I'm going to put my bit in, and once my bit is in and secured, I'm going to come over here and click on the pause button. The router will return back over the touch block to its last position over the touch block, and once it gets over position, then it will start probing for Z. Once again, once it touches off Z, then it's going to move out of the way so the user can remove the touch block. From there, we would be able to bring the router back home, and we should be at our XYZ 0 position. So the last tool that we have is the Quickset Circle Center Finder. So if we come back into full screen here and we look at the DWC Quickset block, at the corner of the block we have this circle here. And when this block is on the corner of a board, notice that the corner of our board is, let me get in front of the camera here, is right at the center of that block. And so rather than touching off on the sides of the block, you know, for that sensing that sides and all, if we have a small enough diameter bit, we could actually come down into that hole and touch off to find the center of that hole. So let's assume that we've done that. Let's assume that we've taken our tool here. Let's open up our tool. Okay, so with our tool open, now notice there's no tool diameter or anything. When we are using the center circle finder, we don't have to specify the diameter of the tool. So once again, my tool would be down into that circle so it can touch off and everything. And I would once again click OK. It would start probing on the 4 corners. Once it finds the center, it's going to start with the X first. Then it's going to go back. Then it's going to go to the side of that circle. Then it's going to go to the other side of that circle. Once it finds it, it's going to register the center. Then it's going to raise up and go over the Z, and then it's going to start probing for Z. Once it touches off on the Z, then again it will move to a safe location so we can remove our block out of the way. Once everything is done, we should be able to bring the router back home and again land at XYZ 0. So these are the automations for the DWC Quickset zeroing tool for X, Y, and Z zeroing. And again, we have preset buttons for 1/8 inch, 3/16 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch tool diameters. We also have if you have a custom tool size that you're using, as well as if there's a tool change if you're using the touch pen. And again, also if you want to use the circle center finder. So that's an alternative way to zero out X and Y and Z. So be sure to give it a run because for accurate, repeatable resetting of your X, Y, and Z zero if needed, the DWC Quickset block is the tool for the job. And now being integrated inside of TNG, it makes using the tool that much more easier. So I hope this was very helpful as far as an instructional to get you started with it. And until next time, I'll see you soon.